In this video I'm going to show the strategy which for now I decided to call the Triple Continent Alliance strategy. In a 6-player game, the small continent players, also known as the Australian, South American, and African players, unite their forces to team up against the big continent players, or basically all of the rest of the world, ideally even preventing them from capturing any of these continents. The reason to unite for the small continent players is because they would be able to sustain the advantage against others until there are 3 players left, which obviously would be them themselves if everything is done right. No reason to let other players get big continents, because by getting strong, they could decide which player they want to eliminate, and that player could be always you if you're weaker. So why to risk when you could just simply prevent others from getting big continents while holding small ones for yourselves and at the same time staying an advantage? Or assuming if everyone were passive, then the game would just become a stalemate. Everyone in a smart player game know the secret of turtling, of letting others doing all the dirty work for them by attacking, while staying neutral themselves and not doing any other attacks besides capturing a territory per turn. So if everyone in a fixed card game just capturing a territory per turn and basically not doing anything else, then the match just becomes the game of patience, on who decides to stay in the game the longest before they disconnect or suicide on someone. So even if you have some good amount of patience, then you still not guaranteed to win, because the bored person could just decide to suicide on you, especially if instead of turtling you decide to start making some attacks. Well, this is what can usually happen in a high-ranked public lobby, but this is the game which is being played with my subscribers, so hopefully we are going to make it interesting. This is a 6-player fixed card game with balanced blitz dice rolls and 60 seconds per turn. I'm playing against 1 beginner who is orange, 1 intermediate who is green, and finally 3 grandmaster rank players who are yellow, purple and blue. Well, to be fair, the blue player is playing on his alternative account, which is at intermediate level, but obviously by playing on the alternative lower ranked account, it doesn't make your skill any worse. So yeah, like mentioned, in this game I will be trying to pull off the Triple Continent Alliance strategy, in which you as an African player unite with the South American and Australian players in order to sustain the advantage among yourselves and get rid of unnecessary opponents. The balance of the game could be perfectly sustained with only 3 players in total. And another reason to team up is because the game wouldn't become one long boring stalemate, but obviously you 3 need to team up, that it would be mutually beneficial for all of you. If let's say 2 of you are attacking someone, while the 3rd player is just hurtling and capturing just 1 territory in order to get a card, or attacks others but not as much, then the 3rd player would just be taking the advantage over other 2. So in that case, when the 3rd player just turtling, then that the game wouldn't become a stalemate, then it would be the best to team up on that turtling player, so one of the no continent players would be able to take his position. But of course, assuming if no continent players are not attacking you, but differently, would actually be willing to help out to deal with that turtling player. So it always depends on the situation, and sometimes you just couldn't attack anyone you want. Also, maybe I would say that firstly it might be better to get some troops advantage rather than instantly trying to attack someone, as the retaliation would be very possible with the attack no continent player breaking through your continent and leaving his biggest army here. Well, at least if you're the African player like me, as an African player you're the most vulnerable of all of the 3 small continent players, even though you get 1 troop more. The yellow player sent me a thumbs down emoji when I left 4 troops on his border, but he must understand that even though I trust him, I don't trust no continent players, which by seeing that they're getting attacked, could just simply break through our continents and leaving their armies in them, assuming it wouldn't be self-destructive, and obviously to crush 4 North African troops or 1 Brazilian troop wouldn't be self-destructive for them at all. So actually it would be even better that I would put as many troops on the North Africa next to his border as possible. So he would be totally guaranteed to hold South America, so even if Africa would be invaded through some other border, the South American and Australian player could still successfully team up with each other without the African player getting 3 continental troops anymore, but instead of that just serving as the protection services, that the South American player would still be able to help out the Australian player to weaken others and get rid of them from the game. But to not make the yellow player to be annoyed, I decided not to continue putting some more troops on his border, so if the yellow player gets invaded, then he wouldn't blame me. I had a set at 4 cards, but not to appear as the strongest player, I decided to keep my cards until 5 of them, but actually it could have gone very wrong for me in case some players had decided to team up on me, especially if the green player had decided to betray me. But thank God nobody initiated that idea, so I'm obviously staying alive. I noticed that no continent players are getting stronger, so I decided it would be the right time to start teaming up on someone, to not prolong the game. The orange and blue players seemed to be neutral towards me, while the purple player crushed some of my troops, so my decision to send the attack requests to the yellow and green players to attack purple was based on that. As obviously if you had a choice, you would like to get rid of the player who appears as the biggest threat, or is the most aggressive towards you. But then suddenly the blue player disconnected, my turn came, and since the yellow and green players hadn't attacked purple yet, I decided to make the blue player as the target instead of purple. As first of all, the game becomes so much boring with the computer players, at least when it comes to me. Second of all, that computer player would have been the most of issue for me since I'm the African player and have to guard even 3 borders, and third of all, nobody likes getting the last place, so not to make others upset, it's the best to get rid of the disconnected player. Well, to be honest, to sustain the advantage it would be the best to attack other no-continent players when leaving the bot alone, but on the other hand you can never know if the disconnected player gets back to the game, so if you let his bot hold multiple continents, then he could end up being in a huge advantage in case he comebacks. But obviously when the no-continent players started teaming up on us, we cannot attack the bot anymore, and instead of that we should team up on them. There's no reason to attack the blue computer player right now, as by doing so, we would just help out the no-continent players with them already attacking us. Well, at least when it comes to me and yellow. The green player seems be unaffected. So actually he could decide which side he wants to be in, whether he wants to change his front and help out the purple and orange players, or wants to stay in the alliance with me and yellow. I and yellow are stronger than purple and orange, so to get faster to the 3-player situation, it would be better for him to stay in the alliance with us. But in case he doesn't trust me and yellow that much, and if he preferred to stay with the purple and orange players in the top 3, then it might be worth for him to change the front. Or another scenario for him is to attack the blue disconnected player, so the green player wouldn't become too strong when all of the real players fight with each other. As if the green player just hurtled when getting quite stronger, then we would have to switch our attention to attacking him. But the good news is that at least for now he is staying with us. He showed that to us by crushing some of the troops to the orange player. At first I wanted to team up on orange since he was the one who invaded my continent, while the purple player just went through my continent to South America to be an issue for yellow, when sending an alliance for me. But the thing is that purple decided to attack my best ally, which helped me to attack others the most. At first I wanted to keep focusing on orange, while potentially becoming allies with purple sometime later, but I saw that the yellow player was very desperate to team up on purple, so with the yellow player already being the best ally, I decided that it would have been the best if help him out to attack purple. As if I hadn't helped him out, then he wouldn't have had so much trust into me anymore, while by helping him out to attack purple, I hope that our alliance stays strong and we will be able to successfully continue teaming up, at least until there are only 3 of us left, as then the game becomes much more about the balance of the game rather than diplomacy. I didn't expect yellow to crush the whole purple's army though, especially when the purple player was on 2 cards, meaning that he wouldn't have been able to trade in a set. I really thought that I will be able to finish the purple player off by myself getting his cards. But since the yellow player quite unexpectedly crushed purple's army, the orange player was the player who got lucky to get 2 extra cards. He's just made quite a risky decision though by unleashing the green player's army, the army of the strongest player, so obviously now he could get eliminated by green, especially with having 5 cards, or the yellow player could get eliminated too. but since believing that it would be much harder for the three of the rest players being left to properly team up on the blue computer player without someone taking the advantage, I decided to potentially influence the green player of either taking blue out or taking a lot of his armies down. After crushing 4 troops of blue, the green player decided to go for the orange player. And I mean that is good also. Now with the orange player being gone, we basically guaranteed to be in the top 3 with the blue player being the computer player. But now since the green player still stays as the strongest player, he is expected to attack the blue player the most. Me and yellow should be very careful with our decisions in order to not give away the game for green. Yeah, especially when it comes to yellow. I would say he attacked the blue player quite too much looking to the green player's troops counter. He is desperate of me attacking the blue player as well, but I mean seriously, we are so close of the green player having the same number of troops as both of us combined. On the other hand though, the green player's army is blocked, so maybe that's not something bad to take just one blue army down to please yellow. But yeah, the green player has noticed that he is getting quite stronger, so the invasion was expected. Hopefully it will make the yellow player to see the situation more clearly. Surprisingly though, the green player still left his army blocked in Australia. And oh no guys. Don't say that the yellow player is taking the blue player out. That's very risky because it could potentially give away the game for green. But hopefully the green player stays sitting in Australia with his biggest army, the Australian turtle strategy for the win. Well, just not in this case, so let's hope for the best. I think the green player has really missed a perfect opportunity by leaving his army blocked after he had attacked us, otherwise the game might have been over yet. But now I believe we will be able to come back to the balanced state, but we're still in risk as the attackers have the advantage, so hopefully the green player doesn't consider crushing our armies down. And also let's keep in mind that when attacking one troop territories, you almost always lose no troops. You gain a new territory, but your troop counter stays the same, so hopefully the green player as the strongest player doesn't take that into the account either. Actually I'm not that sure how the game would go if the green player decided to eliminate one of us. I mean he is supposed to get the attacking advantage when crushing the selected player's army, and also would basically lose no troops when clearing out the rest of that player's territories, but after that the alive player would lose no troops capturing green territories too. So what do you think guys, would it have been worth the risk for the green player to try taking me out with the yellow's player army being blocked? Personally myself I'm not sure. But in case the green player not getting a favorable blitz roll crushing my biggest army, he would have been able to stop capturing the territories of mine to not give away me for yellow. But on the other hand even if successfully green taking me out the green player would have still been weaker than yellow, even after trading in a set, but he would have been supposed to get the troops advantage back next turn with the yellow player's army being blocked with the yellow player not being able to recapture a lot of territories. At the end I'm still not sure, and believe it could have gone either way based on the luck, on how good the green player's blitz roll would have been crushing my army, and whether the player's having a good set at the crucial moment. The green player says me to attack yellow, while the yellow says to me that he is sorry but he needs to attack my territory. So does that mean that the green player sent the attack requests to both of us to attack each other, so our good relationships would be overturning us to enemies? Well, not sure but that's possible, since this turn the yellow player attacked both of our territories, probably still thinking whether to stay in the alliance with me, or help out the green player to attack me. In any case I couldn't have attacked a lot of territories of yellow to not give away him for green, but at the same time probably it wouldn't have been the best decision to capture some territories of the green player too, as he would have been probably discouraged from attacking yellow too. So to see what the green player was up to, I decided that it would have been the best just to capture one territory with my biggest army. I assume it was the safest choice when it came to the diplomacy. And what I saw is that the green player attacked yellow but on the other hand fortified his army back to be blocked to Australia, so without me having a continent and with him possibly turtling and becoming quite passive, that wouldn't have been the most ideal situation for me. So by seeing that the yellow player still wants to be very aggressive by even manual rolling the green player's army, I decided that it would be the best for me to stick in alliance with the yellow player. As even without me having a continent, the yellow player would still use the extra troops he gets to crush green. While with the green player it would have been very unknown whether he would have been aggressive or passive, but by his decision to fortify all his troops into the blocked place, I assume he would have been more passive, or at least not as aggressive as yellow is. Well, the green player suddenly disconnected, and I'm not sure whether it's just temporary or for good. But if he isn't coming back, then probably the most fair decision would be to agree on a draw with yellow. So nobody would get a huge advantage over other by attacking opponents' armies first, very possibly guaranteeing a victory for himself. Well, that doesn't matter anymore as the green player has just come back to the game. So everything is good. I don't have to propose the draw offered for the yellow player, and instead of that I can just simply capture Africa. Also I had a 10 troop set at 3 cards, but I decided not to trade it in, to not appear to be quite stronger than the yellow player, so he could potentially continue crushing a lot of troops to green, without realizing that I have the cards advantage and also I'm supposed to get 3 cards from taking out green. And as you can see, the yellow player has really overdone it without even realizing that he fell into the trap, as he didn't even fortify his biggest army from the blocked South American place. So I think it might be a good game. I placed 5 troops into North America, just to have a 100% chance blitz roll crushing the territory of green. And then breaking to the Australia I left even 10 troops to it, which was obviously too much, but okay. The other hand, I just wanted to be completely sure, the yellow player's biggest army is being blocked anyways. But now I'm just not sure whether it will be enough troops to capture all the continents besides South America. But as you can see, thanks to the RNG I was able to. So I guess I've just pulled the 4 continents endgame strategy in reverse, the strategy which the South American turtle player hates the most. That's actually so funny. And if you guys enjoyed watching this episode, then make sure to check out some of these on the screen as well.